In this episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about whether or not you should be using side bends as a core exercise in your training.
I want you to have the capability to fully move the way your body was designed to, right?
Jump overhead, I'll take you back to where my problems lie. In trouble, younger daughter done some shit that made my mama cry. Out to the heavens like I bless him, for I know he's lost. Caught in a trance and this manic depression settled in. Get up and get down, get up and get.
Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Dr. Evan Horschig from SquatUniversity, and this is episode 47 of the Ask Squat U Show. Hope training is going well this week. Let's get to today's question.
Hi, I see a lot debated online about a side bend with a single kettlebell or dumbbell. Perhaps a post of the mechanism, this being useful or not, will be well received by your followers.
All right, so a big question a lot of people have when it comes to the core is whether or not they should be using side bends as an exercise as part of their core training. Now, let's think about this. Whenever we go to squat a barbell, so we're gonna get the barbell on our back, we're gonna batten down everything nice and tight, and then we're gonna get ready to squat. What movement occurs at my core? There's no movement at all. We want an isometric contraction, and then we're gonna squat all the way down, and then back up. What happens when we do a pull? So if I have the bar on the front side of my body, right here again, I'm nice and tight, I'm going down, there's no side-to-side movement, no side-to-side deviation. If I'm pulling all the way down from the ground, same thing. From here, I'm getting nice and tight, I'm pulling the bar all the way up. Same thing, again, for a press. Nice and tight, pressing above the head. So in that regard, most of our barbell lifts are all containing the same foundational movement of having an isometric contraction at the core while movement occurs at the hips and at the upper body. Think about it like this. If we look at a radio tower, there's a number of different guy wires that come off, all to stabilize the radio tower. Every single one of the muscles that crosses your spine, short and long, all have a job to keep your spine nice and stable, especially when we're lifting. The spine is the most resilient when it's in that stacked neutral position. It's when it leaves that position under load that we often find injury. If we think about the classic way in which some people train the core through movement of a side bend, back and up, what are we doing? We are not training the core to isometrically stabilize the core spine. So from here, I'm moving down and back up. Now, research shows that just because I strengthen a muscle doesn't necessarily mean it does a better job of stabilizing. So the way in which we train our core has to carry over to the way in which we're going to use it during our movements. Instead, we're going to want an isometric contraction, meaning that we want that muscle to kick on but not allow any movement of the spine at all. So instead of doing a side bend that trains the body to move the spine, I'm going to show you another way that's more effective. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab that same kettlebell, that same dumbbell. You're going to hold it by your side, just as if you're about to do a side bend. But instead of moving, you're going to move your hips while your spine stays stable. Obviously, this is called a single arm suitcase carry. So from here, you're just going to start walking, keeping your spine straight up and down. I don't want to see any side-to-side deviation. Now, here's the thing. When I take a stance and then move, so right now I'm in right leg stance, my right glute medius and my left QL muscle of my low back are working to keep my pelvis level so that that doesn't happen. So I don't have my pelvis drop or my body twist sideways. So everything has to work isometrically in order for my spine to stay stable, my pelvis to stay level so I can have good swing through motion of my leg and then back. So this is something that's going to carry over more so to our goal of doing a squat, of doing a pull, of doing a press, because it's working again with the fundamental concept of isometric core, hips working together, no movement created at the spine, but movement created at the extremities. So again, nice and tall, I'm bracing my core, arm is nice and long, we're squeezing this bell to create a lot of tension all the way up through the arm, turning that lat on, nice and strong, and just walking. A cue that I use, if you guys have ever seen the Terminator movies, I want you walking nice and robotically. I don't want to see a nice lackadaisical walk at all. So nice and strong, maybe do something down and back a number of times until you're feeling those muscles. You'll also feel the opposite side core working. So if I'm holding it in my left side, I'm probably gonna be feeling my right side work pretty good. Now, a question I often get to this is, what is the difference between a single arm and a double arm carry? Here's the thing. Whenever you hold a single arm bell like this, it is much harder on your spine to create that stability. So it's much harder for all those muscles that cross the spine than if you were holding double the weight in both hands. So that's something to think about whenever you're doing double arm farmer walks or a single arm suitcase carry. So again, it all comes back to what is the concept of what we're trying to create. Are we trying to create a stable core that can help me then move better weight whenever we're talking about the barbell lifts, or am I just trying to build one specific muscle? As far as it comes to the weight room, our goal as weightlifters, powerlifters, crossfitters is not to develop aesthetics necessarily. It's a side effect of our hard training, but our goal is to produce better quality movement, better quality technique that we can then have more power and improve our performance. So when it comes down to the core, you must train the core isometrically to resist movement at the spine while we create movement elsewhere. So that's the big difference between a side bend and a single arm suitcase carry. So that is it for today's quick Ask Squat You show. I hope you guys liked the show and got something out of it. If you did, please share it with your friends and family. Like, comment below, letting me know if there's any questions that you want me to go over in our next show. Please subscribe also to the channel if you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out. Until next week, guys, happy squatting.
They say that energy flows where attention goes, so I pay no mind. Why waste my time with all these negative cats scratching? So caught up in their egos, these people have lost.